Welcome to Hot History Episode 2. Tom, how are you feeling about this?
I actually just got really nervous. I'd forgotten about how much the first one hurt.
We have no idea why we're doing this again, but once again we're going to try and talk some history stuff. Today we're going to talk about the Trojan War. We're doing a little bit different. We're not doing chicken wings, obviously. We've managed to pick up these bad boys from Chili Bomb, which is the Australian product, and it is the world's hottest corn chips. I've done some research. It's 1.5 million Scoville heat units per chip.
For a extra kick.
Extra kick, yes. Do not consume on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Or if you have a cardiac condition.
A lot of other health conditions that says don't do it.
This is actually going to be brought to you today by young Alex. Alex harasses me every single day and makes me commit to doing these stupid things and comes up different ways for us to hurt ourselves. So thanks Alex. I'll see you tomorrow, mate. So what we're going to do today with these 50 gram packs.
Your game. I didn't want to throw it just in case I angered the chili box.
When we take, really?
Nah, it's not too bad.
When we it's back on my throat. When we start eating our first chip, our trusty cameraman Michael. Woo,
Do you know in
I'm shaking.
pizza shapes,
Yeah.
how you lick the bottom of the bag? I don't think I'm going to do that this time.
Not going to do that. Michael's going to start a 20-minute timer. These are proper full-size corn chips, by the way. And we are not allowed to consume our trusty milk. Where is our trusty milk?
The trusty milk is
Trusty
in the
milk's in the
fridge. Trusty
fridge.
milk is in the
Same
fridge,
thing.
just so we're
We've
not
got our
tempted.
glasses. We're not allowed to drink the milk for 20 minutes. We've got to try and ride out and try and get as much information as we can.
Possibly can in 20 minutes.
And the best thing is we're going to save one chip just for our trusty cameraman.
Yeah.
To help us out.
Yeah. Got to make sure we share the love.
I just hope we can talk after one chip.
Yeah. Well, we'll manage.
Wow.
Now here's the question: do you go for the there's a darker dusting? I'm going for a darker dusting.
A darker dusting. Get one of those over and done.
Let's just start hot. Let's just start hot. And go from there. Cheers. It's immediate.
It's literally immediate.
Oh, that is so bad. Okay. Sorry, pardon. I'm just going to press start on that 20-minute timer because I think that might be a little bit important.
So mathematically,
yeah.
If I've just put 1.5 million Scoville heat units in my mouth, is another chip plus 1.5 million?
Surely.
Oh God.
Surely. That is.
Is it 20 minutes yet?
It's been 20 seconds. So, we hope you find this both informative.
Oh, I don't think I want no one.
And amusing. So, Steve, what can you tell us about the Trojan War to start with?
Not much. So, it was composed by a guy called Homer, allegedly by a guy called Homer, in about the 12th or 13th centuries BCE. Oh my God. I literally can't eat another one.
That's okay. Now, the story of the Iliad, was actually never written down. The interesting part about writing at the time was that it was all oral, which is why the Iliad has been passed down for so many years. Not only that, but the story itself is one of the most captivating in all of history. You've got a princess who is captured, well not captured, given away as a prize in a beauty contest by the gods. You've got an angry husband. You've got a vengeful brother.
I don't like our rules.
You've got a vengeful brother. You've got the greatest warriors that history's ever known. You've got the gods fighting on either side. Holy good night. You've got founders of one of the greatest civilizations of all time coming out of it. This story's been retold and told again over the years.
And it wasn't actually written down until I believe the 7th or 8th centuries BCE. Oh my God. What do I do?
I don't care, I'm looking bold. My head's sweating.
Yeah. We've got the air conditioner right above us.
17 minutes left, boys.
Oh, stop it.
Jiminy crickets. Okay. So, oral history, passed down for thousands of years. Let's introduce our hero of the modern day story. Yeah.
Is there a hero? I don't think we got a hero. Achilles.
Heinrich Schliemann. Heinrich Schliemann was...
So, about 1870.
Yeah, it's stuck in your teeth.
Oh, it's in my nose. Amateur archaeologist. Just remember that word amateur.
That's important.
Because this bloke self-funded. Oh, this is worse than the chicken wings. He went over there, bloke Frank Calvert told him where he should be looking. And he found a tell, which is basically a mound on top of an ancient city in a place called Hisarlik, which is in Turkey, Asia Minor, back in the ancient times. That milk is so tempting right now. He went to dig there, he found an ancient city. And instead of digging into it, he basically got blokes in there with dynamite and blew the hell out of it. Oh my God.
Now, this is probably because he is an amateur, self-funded, which means he wanted results early. Sorry. Pardon.
So there's a saying now that archaeologists use: the dig is to destroy. Oh, my eyes. Oh, and even if that was around in 1870, it wouldn't have stopped our hero, Heinrich Schliemann. He's not a hero.
More hero.
What? 16 minutes, come on. Oh, I've had 2 chips. So he blasted his way into...
That one got me.
I think we're gonna... No, I'm not going 20 minutes out of this.
I didn't go for a minute longer. That's all I gotta do. Sorry. Okay. So Heinrich Schliemann was told about this place. Beautiful spot by the ocean, which means that it could have been a trading city, which means that it could be Troy, because it's rich.
Right. And it was in a good strategic location. So what we're doing at the moment is we're looking at the physical evidence that could support this place being Troy.
And the location that we need.
It was actually known for a long time as Troya. There's a lot of ancient references to the area. So archaeologists and experts today believe, yeah, it's more than likely the place. Oh.
I'm lightheaded.
So here, don't inhale.
No.
Oh, I'm not going to get through this. We're doing our best.
Yeah, sorry. Education.
So he was a sensationalist, Heinrich, and he actually happened to be excavating on his own one day and came across a treasure trove that he thought was related to King Priam. Oh,
The ancient ruler of Troy.
So anyway, he got his wife to pose in the jewelry and stuff, and it's all over the internet. You can see it's in black and white.
The modern Helen.
Yeah, at the end of it, he ended up smuggling it out of Turkey.
Because the Turkish officials weren't too stoked with a, what was he? European?
Well, it was actually the Ottoman Empire at the time.
Well, there we go.
And they got very upset with him, and it's actually in a museum in Germany at the moment. Oh, is it bad?
This
Do you want
is
to try one of these?
It's not hot.
No. Oh.
So the Ottoman Empire. Holy good night.
They basically banned him from ever going to Turkey. Well, he's dead now, but they banned him from going back there.
Yeah, pretty impressive to get a lifetime ban. So actually very famous images, posed his wife in a thing, called her the modern day Helen of Troy.
Yeah.
All in the papers, everything else, you know, the famous lost treasure of Priam. All those heroes were all of a sudden brought to life. Hector and Achilles. Paris, Priam.
I'm going to turn it off because I'm getting mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get on to the story of Troy. So there was a young guy, Paris.
What do you want to talk about the levels?
No. Young guy, Paris. There was not a philosophy, what's it called when there's something bad's going to happen that I can't think of right
Prophecy.
now. Prophecy. That a guy, Paris, was going to be the downfall of the Trojan people. So his parents sent him off. So he didn't know who he was. Drink the milk, man, honestly.
I've got 12 minutes.
You idiot. So when he was born and they named him Paris, they shipped him off to farmers. Turns into a bit of a Romulus and Remus story. Anyway, at some point in his journeys, he has a visit from some goddesses, and he has to choose which is the most beautiful. And
they all promise him different
Yes.
different prizes as rewards for choosing
Yes.
them behind the scenes.
so he wins, and he wins. He's supposed to fall in love with the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah, that was Athena, wasn't it?
Helen.
No, Athena promised.
Oh yes. So anyway, gets back in with the family fold. They go over to Greece, and Greece is a bunch of city-states at this stage. It's not a combined country or anything. Goes out for dinner one night, and there's the king.
In Sparta.
Yes, the King Menelaus with a hot wife, and old Paris and God, you're coming home with me.
By golly gosh, did she?
Yes. Oh.
Now, this was actually a diplomatic mission between the Trojans and the Spartans.
Yeah.
They were dining together to celebrate the renewal of a trading relationship. And as you could possibly imagine, stealing the wife of the guy who you just promised to take, diplomatic care of is a bit of a no-no.
I'm ringing chili bomb. That's not 50 grams. That's a kilo of chips.
Yeah, that's too many.
We've literally had 3 chips. So there's an ancient. You hear Greece being called Hellenistic. That's actually an ancient term for Greece, or the way they say it, natural term. It's got nothing to do with Helen Troy. So anyway, she's the face that launched 1,000 ships. Paris has nicked back to Troy, taken her on, and obviously the kings have been upset. The king brothers, one's a Spartan, they start talking to each other. They put a fleet together.
Because Agamemnon
Yeah.
wanted an empire. As the Greek states actually famously hated each other. There was no such thing as a united Greece back then. And yet Agamemnon did his best, to get all the Greeks together. He got some of the most famous, Odysseus, Achilles,
Yeah.
all the different kings of all the different countries, or city-states in Greece. They were left, they went across. Now the important thing to remember about the Trojan War, I feel so lightheaded, is...
Have some milk.
Yeah, I've got it, I think. No, I'm actually genuinely lightheaded.
Are you right?
Yeah,
You want to sit down?
is there, I might have to. There was a campaign season. Because winters in Greece were famously made the ocean and traversing it and camping outside cities quite difficult. So anyway, this fleet rocked up. They fought for the first campaign season, and then more than likely, based on historical evidence, they went home for a bit. And then they came back the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, until they'd come back 10 times. And the story, written down by Homer, known as the Iliad, was in the final.
It's literally the last few weeks of the 10-year siege of Troy.
Which is a long time. Longer than 20 minutes.
That's
That's
the
for
milk,
sure.
you idiot.
I've already done it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Mine's actually getting better. I'm dealing. So the Iliad centres on basically the last few weeks of the siege. Achilles had a big falling out with the Greek king. He refused to fight for a long time.
Famously over another slave girl, a priestess of Apollo.
And anyway, his best buddy goes riding out to take on Hector wearing Achilles' armour. He gets killed. Everyone thinks Achilles is dead. The body gets brought back. Achilles absolutely loses it. Goes and kills Hector. Hector's Paris' brother, drags him behind his chariot, drags him back to the camp. The old king from Troy, Priam, comes over, tries to negotiate with Achilles to get the body back.
To give him the funeral rites.
Oh, wow. I don't hear you laugh at that, mine. That's crazy hot.
Famously, there's a lot of debate in the sources, which means you've got to read them quite carefully and come up with your own mind, whether or not it was his best bud
Yeah.
or his best bud.
Yeah.
Holy jimmies. Anyway, the anger of Achilles is one of his famous character traits and tropes.
Yeah.
And this got him back on side of Agamemnon. And together, they renewed their assault on the city. And this is where we get introduced to one of our other famous characters who Homer, or another poet, wrote the Odyssey about. Odysseus?
As Homer famously said, "Oh." Tell us a bit about Achilles, though. I like Achilles.
Achilles is one of my favourite guys too.
He's
So
very
Achilles,
handsome, Brad Pitt looking
actually,
dude.
bit rude, isn't it? So Achilles was born as the son or the daughter of a sea goddess, and she famously believed that her son was going to be one of the greatest heroes of the age. Now, in order for him to be the greatest hero of the age, he couldn't die. One of the most easy way to die in ancient Greece, aside from infection, was dying in battle. So she took him down to the river Styx, which is in the underworld, and she dipped him in there to give him protection. However, she held him to dip him in the river by his Achilles tendons, which means those two bits of him...
It was ankle a tendon at that stage, wasn't it? Achilles a tendon.
Well, okay, sorry, my bad. The tendon at the back of your heel...
Very flexible, well done.
Thanks, it's the chair, it helps. Dipped him in the river Styx to give him protection, but leaving him vulnerable in those two places. Achilles fought a few fights around the thing, very good at fighting and killing because he couldn't be hurt back.
Yeah.
Well, an ancient Greek warrior who couldn't die. Very easy to get very famous very quickly. Now Achilles had a very, very distinct, what's the word? Obvious set of armour.
Yeah, distinctive.
Yeah, that's the word I was chasing. Makes it hard to think this stuff.
Oh,
Just
just want to eat it.
A bronze that shone.
Chest plate, yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, he, like you talked about Hector, one of the greatest scenes.
Milk's helping.
Yeah, he chased Hector around the city.
Thanks, Hamish, for the milk trip. Good job. Great.
Chased him around the city because Hector didn't really want to fight him because you fight an invulnerable warrior, it makes it very difficult. However, one of the gods intervened and said, "Don't worry, Hector, I'm going to fight with you." So Hector turned around to face Achilles, and the god disappeared. So he realised he was by himself. He died. Achilles then dragged him behind because he was so Patroclus. Because he killed his best mate. Dragged the body behind him back into the camp and was going to leave him there to rot. Now, in ancient times, the funeral rites were very important. They had to make sure they put coins on the eyes to pay the boatmen to get them across the river, so they could go to either the bad spot in the underworld or the good
river
spot.
Styx, yeah.
Elysium. Priam came into the Greek camp by himself and pleaded with Achilles to give his son back so they could give him the proper burial rites. Achilles was actually moved by Priam's bravery, an old man coming into an enemy camp all by himself. That he actually released the body. But the problem with Troy is, massive city, the walls had never been breached. So the Greeks...
Well, let's go back in mythology. So Hercules, in his 12 endeavours, whatever, how many?
Trials.
Yep, trials. He went there and he had to clear a sea monster that was blocking the shipping lanes in what's known as the Dardanelles today, and saved the princess that was tied up on the shore waiting for the sea monster to kill her. So he's killed the monster, and the king reneged on his promise of money, whatever. So Hercules and co went a bit over the top there and actually invaded the city and...
Hashtag OTT.
Yeah. So mythology-wise, which a lot of this is anyway, it's happened before.
But anyway, so it's like the walls were massive, hard to breach. So the Greeks, or the conglomerate of city-states, needed to find another way in.
Yeah.
Odysseus, another hero, another king, came up with a really tricky plan, didn't he?
He did.
They decided to sail the fleet around a corner so they couldn't be seen and leave behind a parting gift. Whew. This parting gift was a massive horse. Now, I don't know if anyone here is young enough to remember LimeWire, but that's how us oldies used to get stuff from the internet. But that used to be filled with viruses called a Trojan horse. Now, what they did inside this ship was hollow out the stomach, or leave it hollow. Inside, they hid a few warriors.
And the stories vary on that too, from a
Yeah.
dozen up to a couple of hundred, but a couple of hundred people in there when they're farting and
Yeah,
sneezing and all that
goddamn
sort of
awful.
stuff. You would have been a giant horse.
We've all been in a classroom without an air conditioner where someone farts. Yeah, it's not fun.
Alex?
Yay! That's payback for this.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Greeks left this Trojan horse outside the city gates, sailed their fleet back off around the corner. The Trojans came outside, saw it, celebrated. They were like, geez, mini cricket, it's been a long 10 years. Yay! The Greeks have left. A few of the that was a really big voice crack. A few of the Trojans were like, we should probably not bring this inside the walls. You know, the Greeks are not very nice people. Anyway, Priam decided, no, let's bring it in. So they brought it inside the city gates and then proceeded to, as you do when you want a great victory, have a feast. While everyone was in there celebrating, drinking a little bit too much, irresponsible,
They're blind.
the Greeks snuck out of the horse and opened up the gates. Now, the one vulnerable spot in any famous city with big walls
Always the gate.
is always the gate. There's always a way in. Anyway, the Greek fleet sailed back around. The warriors jumped back off the ship, stormed in, and decided to raise the city. In the fighting, our boy Achilles,
Paris has fired an arrow and struck him behind the hill to his only vulnerable spot.
yep, ended the life of our famous hero.
And because that's a weakness in the human body, the old Achilles heel, if that snaps, you go down like a bag of you know what.
Sack of potatoes.
That's why it's called the Achilles heel.
History lesson.
Learned something today.
Aside from don't eat the world's hottest corn chips. So, Achilles is dead. A few Trojans have escaped. The Odysseus' plan has worked. And they decide to raise the city because, as any sort of...
Which means trash it.
Carthage, great again.
Carthago Delenda, yes.
As any famous
Back and throat.
ancient king does when they get really annoyed at another city. So you think this is where our story ends. However, gods are vengeful, funky people because, you know, they're jealous of people feeling things and doing stuff. So poor old Odysseus goes to sail home. Takes him like another 10 years to get home.
Yes.
His wife's a little bit upset because it took him 20 years to get home.
There's another poem about him.
The Odyssey.
Obviously.
If you get a chance, I think there's a 80s movie version of it. Fantastic.
Also Jason and the Argonauts. It's also another good one.
So one of the most famous stories in mythology, Homer didn't write this down but used to speak it. There was a rhythm to it, you know, flashing Achilles in his bronze armour. He killed this, and this, and it all had a beat and a rhythm, and it was, you know, made it easier to remember A.
Which I think is it called didactic pentameter?
Yeah, unlike Shakespeare, who wrote in iambic.
Oh, right.
Have to bring Shakespeare into every episode. But yeah, so it's got a beat and a rhythm, which makes it very easy to remember. And also, Homer's audiences would have absolutely loved this. He would go city to city to city to city, say his poem. Dude's blind, by the way, according to some of the sources. He'd read this.
He's dead now.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. Would recite this poem, get money, make his way to the next city. But, this gives you a headache.
Yeah.
So,
I think I've covered it.
yeah,
I
but
can't finish that.
do you want to? No, that's
That's
a lot of
like
chips
a lot of chips left. There's no way in the
How the
world.
hell have you got way more? Anyway,
I don't know. No idea.
but the thing that we've got to talk about just for a second is the reliability of sources.
Yeah.
When you're studying these ancient sources, what you have to take into account is why they were written. Homer wrote the Iliad to entertain.
Yeah.
Which means that it might not be historically accurate.
It might not even be real.
Might not even be real. Because why let the truth get in the way of a good story?
Exactly right.
Then we've got to look at our hero of the story, Schliemann. Right? He dug through levels and levels and levels and destroyed massive amounts of evidence.
He deliberately wanted to prove that that place was Troy in hell or high water.
Which means he didn't use the right dig techniques.
Yep.
He didn't photograph each layer as he went down.
Immensely biased.
Oh, famously. And destroyed levels. Sources a lot of those things that you have to read exceptionally carefully.
Yep, and you've got to remember, the Iliad probably wasn't written down. A glass of milk's for you, Michael. Probably 400 or 500 years after it was actually composed, and since then it would have been translated from Greek to Latin to English to whatever else other languages around at the time. We're done, Tom. We're done. We hope you all enjoyed Hot History. No, don't turn that off.
Okay.
Episode 2. Our cameraman's now going to come around the front here and eat a chip.
No.
And enjoy it. Let's go, Ward.
Oh,
Come on, Michael.
let me get the hat.
That middle glass
Be
is
good,
yours.
be good.
Is that all?
Let me have a
That's
present.
going. That's recording.
Okay, okay.
So,
Get one of that big dark one there, mate.
Oh, this is,
That's all right.
this is
That's
nothing.
good. No, not that one. That one.
excuse me.
My heart's actually pounding right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do it.
Now, if you handle this better than we did,
Yeah.
I'm going to be annoyed.
this is nothing. This is
I'll
nothing.
eat the rest.
Absolutely.
Oh, you stopped.
I'm good now.
What?
Are you actually not feeling anything?
Oh, it's burning, but I know.
I have no idea how you're doing that, man.
Keep going then. Show up.
Are you actually okay?
I'm good, but it was nothing. Like, when is that supposed to kick in?
Oh.
Here, look, that one. That one. Have that one.
I'll get this one. Oh.
That's got heaps on it. You nearly died after one chicken wing.
Anyways, let's put some more.
You can't be serious. What?
And now I think we need to end this here.
Yeah.
And then the burning will kick in like that. And then you can not stop being so tough. Oh, it's coming back in my nose.
Oh,
No,
you
you're
suck.
kidding. You're kidding.
You suck. Don't like you at all.
Right up, Michael. Thanks, Steve. Go to press.